Before starting with the guide, we will be using two inventions that cost tokens. The first one is Shirt Printer Dorm. It is 1,750 tokens. We will need to use this one for both shirts and canvases. Although it says shirt printer, it can also be used for canvases. The second one is Canvas Printer Module. It is 250 tokens. Now this one isn't really necessary, but it will be really useful and helpful for placing the canvas in the correct area. You'll know what I'm talking about once we get to printing, so I would strongly suggest you get this invention as well if you're planning on printing with canvases. So yeah, that was just a quick disclaimer. This is not free. You have to spend a couple of tokens, but you'll most likely make it back with a couple of shirts or canvases. Everything that we will be using and downloading will be down in the description below. There will also be on-screen timestamps to help you locate where you last left off. First, we're going to be downloading the latest version of Python, so just press download and save. Going to your file manager, go into your downloads and double click on python.exe. You'll then want to check this add python.exe to path. Make sure both of these are checked blue, then press install now. Click yes. Once the setup is successful, you want to close out of the window and go into your search bar and search up CMD for command prompt. You'll then want to run it as an administrator. Click yes. In the description, I will have this pip right here, so just copy and paste it into your command prompt and it should start automatically downloading all the pips that it needs. If you run into this error right here, pywin32 is not recognized as an internal external command, you'll then want to manually copy paste the pywin command into the command prompt. Press enter and it should download pywin32. Once all the pips have been successfully downloaded, you can then exit out of command prompt. This next download is completely optional. You don't need it, but I would just suggest you to download it either way, and it is Visual Studio Code. So download it for your Windows. Click on save, go into your file manager and double click on Visual Studio Code user setup. Accept the agreement, click on next, click on next, click on next. Make sure all four of these boxes are checked blue. Click on next, install. You'll then want to click on finish and it should launch Visual Studio Code. You'll then want to click on this extensions tab and search up PyLens. Click on PyLens and install. Once PyLens is done downloading, Python should be downloaded as well. If it's not, just click on install. Once those two are installed, you can now exit out of Visual Studio Code. We are then going to be downloading the code for Recroom Shirt Printer. So click on the green code, download zip, go into your file manager, select Recroom Shirt Printer main.zip, right click, extract all, extract. You can then delete the zip folder, open up Recroom Shirt Printer main, drag and drop Recroom Shirt Printer main to downloads, and you should be able to enter into Recroom Shirt Printer main without having to enter the other folder. Once you're here, go into shirt_templates, select both of these by holding Control, right click, copy, go to downloads and paste them in your downloads. This is completely optional. You don't have to copy it, but I like having a fresh copy and an untouched copy of the shirt templates. So once you have both of the shirt templates, you want to open them up. Once they're both open up, this next step is completely optional, and that is we are going to be resizing these images. So to resize them, you can go into these three dots right here and click on resize image. I will have these dimensions in the description and in the comments down below so you can remember the dimensions, but once again, you don't have to resize your image. This is just completely optional. I do not recommend you go over 1024 by 1024 on any of your images, although the full shirt does go over it, but that was just a dimension that I was recommended a long time ago. There's probably a better one out there. Who knows? Just experiment around with the dimensions that you like and that best suits your images. So for the front, you can go from 350, 523 all the way up to basically 1024 by 1024, but apparently 560 by 816 was recommended, but that was a while ago. Once again, choose whatever dimensions you want. As long as the aspect ratio is maintained, the dimension does not matter as long as you don't go over 1024 by 1024. So like right here, 1331, automatically 1000. Then save, and then you can save it and replace the existing shirt template, or you can rename it to shirt template resized or whatever. I don't know, your choice, doesn't matter. So once you have your shirt templates ready, you'll want to go into Photopea. You can then drag and drop your shirt templates and there it is, or instead you can click on new project and input the width and height of your image. Once again, here are the dimensions that are recommended to be used. So you can input 1331, 1000, create, and boom, there we go. Then you can just drag the shirt template template there, resize it to your liking, and you are good to go. Now, if you want to work on multiple projects, you can go to File, New, or Open. Select the shirt template or whatever image you're using. Press Open, and boom, there we go. So now that you got your templates, the canvas, rectangle canvas, shirt template, and then shirt template front and back, whichever one you're using, you'll then want to grab your image. So once you have your image ready, these next steps are optional. You'll want to go to AI Image Upscaler. So if your image is of low quality, you can visit this and upload your image here. Once your image is uploaded, you can see the original image versus the upscaled version. You can upscale it up to 4 times. You can see the difference, original versus AI upscaled. You can also enhance the quality, and you can see the even bigger difference. So yeah, in case your image is low quality or it's not looking good, you can always put it up into the upscaled media, and you can just download it from here and use the upscaled image instead if you want to. This other step is also completely optional, which is removing the background of an image. So let's say you don't like the background of an image, you can just upload the image here, and there it is. It removes the background. Now, as you can see, it's not perfect, so it might remove some stuff that you don't want to get removed. So yeah, this is why I say it is just a optional thing to do. Now, your image will need a background either way, but just in case you don't like the current color of the background, you can try and remove it with the erase background tool. So now that you have your edited image, your final image that you want to put on a shirt or a canvas, you'll then want to drag and drop it into here, into Photopea. Now, you might need to drag it over the template for it to show up, maybe in the middle. If you want the template to overlap the image, that's good as well. Now, you can then resize the image to your liking. So there we go, it fits the front. Now, in order to resize it, you'll want to click on this right here, this mouse, and you want to click on transform controls. Make sure that is checked on, or else you won't be able to see the controls right there. It's just gonna be like this. You can just move it around. So transform controls enables that. This next bit of information are for images that are horizontal and you want to print it on, let's say, a vertical canvas. You can choose your horizontal image, it's fine, but you want to rotate it on its side, whichever way, doesn't matter. Make sure it is exactly 90, and then you can resize it from there. You can make it fit however you want. The canvas will be printing vertically, so it'll be printing from top to bottom, and once the canvas is done printing, you can basically manually rotate the Recroom canvas so it looks like it is horizontal, if you understand what I'm saying. For every horizontal image, you'll have to rotate it vertically to fit the canvas. Once you have your images ready on your shirt templates or your canvases, you'll then want to remove the shirt template, and you want to pick a background color. Now, to pick a background color, you can click on New Adjustment Layer right here in the bottom right corner, color fill, and pick whatever color you want. For people that do want to have transparent images, it's a different way to do this. You cannot print a transparent image, but you can print an image with, like, let's say red background, because like obviously my image does not have any red, so we're going to be choosing red. And then once we get to printing, we can remove the color red from the custom colors, so it won't print any red, but it will print all the blues, yellows, whatever, all the images that are on your actual image that you want printed. So yeah, I would recommend you choose a background color that is not relevant to your image, or if you just want a background on your image, then you can choose whatever color you want. It's up to you whether or not you want a solid color as your background, or if you're trying to do transparent, a random color that is not being used, which will later be removed during the printing process. So once you have your image all ready to go and you want to basically do 2-part printing, which is only recommended to do if your image goes over 4096 strings, which I'll be talking about later, and you will know how many strings your image has. So if your image has way too many strings and your last resort is 2-part printing, which I still don't recommend you do. I would recommend you print your image whole, but as a last resort, here's what you're going to do. You'll want to click on the crop tool right here on the left hand side, and you'll want to crop the image in half, exactly half, not 1 pixel shorter or 1 pixel higher, exactly half. Once you have that, you want to make sure delete crop to pixels is checked on and click on confirm. There you go. You have half of your image. You'll then want to export it as PNG, nothing else. It has to be PNG. And name it whatever you want. So I guess I'll do bottom half. Make sure don't use palettes is also checked on. Boom. There we go. Bottom half. You'll then want to click on undo/redo and do exactly the same except the top half this time. There we go. Click on the check, file, export as, PNG, top half or whatever you want to name it. And there we go. There you go. You have your two images, but if you're doing your image whole, like, you know, the whole image, you'll then just want to click on file, export as, PNG, name it whatever you want. There you go. You're done with your image right now. Once again, you'll want to make sure your image fits the template. If it goes over, then it won't be printing basically everything that is blacked out. There you go. You can also add another image on the back, whatever you want. The two-part printing process could go for anything. The front and back shirt, the front shirt, the canvas, rectangle canvas. It will work on all of them. Just clearing that up right now. So now that you have all your images ready to go, this next step is completely optional, which is custom colors. I would strongly suggest you use custom colors, but it's up to you. You'll want to join the Recroom printing Discord, which is of course going to be down in the description below, and you'll want to download the color compiler right there. There we go. Color compiler download complete. Go into your downloads, and here it is. Color compiler. Now this next step is also optional, which is putting color compiler in its own little folder. So you want to right click on an empty space, new folder, name it whatever you want, color compiler, I guess. Once you have that, drag and drop the color compiler into its folder, and there it is. Now the reason why I'm suggesting you do this is so you can have everything organized. When the color compiler outputs a file, it will end up here, and I'll be showing you right now. So just double click on color compiler.py, or if you're having issues, you can just right click, open with Python. There it is. You'll then want to compile colors, so press C and enter. If you're doing two-part printing, you'll have to compile both of them, so the top half and the bottom half. You have to compile both of the custom colors from it. So let me do the top half first. Now here is where you input the amount of markers you're going to be using for the custom colors. So 80 markers are for shirts, no matter what, front or back. 79 markers are for two-part printing shirts. So if you split your image in half, you have to input 79 markers, and 75 markers for canvases, rectangle or square. It will work for both. So for my instance, I'm going to be using 79 for the top half and the bottom half. Press enter. Here's the option you get to decide 0, 1, or 2. I personally use 2, but you can experiment around with 0, 1, and 2, whichever one you want to use, but I feel like 2 is the best overall. You'll then want to click enter, and it should drop the RGB and hex files into the folder. If you didn't create the folder, then it will drop all the hex and RGB files into your recent downloads. That's why I suggest you put the color compiler in a folder. So here we go. I have the bottom half and the top half. Of course, you don't have to do that if you're not splitting your image. So once you have your RGB and hex files, you'll then want to open up your RGB file by double clicking, or you can right click on it, open with Notepad. You'll then want to press Ctrl A to select all of the information right here, and then press Ctrl C or right click and copy. You can then just close out of that if you want to. We'll then just want to go into Recroom Shirt Printer main, go into encoding, right click, open with Notepad. Now this next step is optional, and that is we're going to be highlighting these colors right here. So make sure you start from here and end up all the way here. Okay, nothing further, nothing below, all of this. Okay, don't go over. Make sure you start here, go all the way up, and end right there. You'll then want to copy this, and you'll basically want to create a new text file, paste it here, and then just save as. I would just save it as I guess Recroom base colors, because the current colors that are in the encoding.py file are the base Recroom colors. So if you want to use the base colors and you're not using custom colors, or you just want to experiment around, you can just save the base colors into a separate file. So you can go back into it, copy this, and paste it into the encoding. So just save it. Once again, that's completely optional. That's if you want to experiment around. If not, you can just go back into your images RGB file, go to encoding, and paste. You'll then want to click on file and save. There we go. That's how you do custom colors the first half. You'll then just want to exit out of all of that, and to see how it works, just double click on list create importing, click on no, and open your image up. Now this next option, you can click on yes or no. It is completely up to you. You can experiment around with dithering. I'm gonna decide not to dither, so no, enter, and boom, there we go. It looks exactly like it. Now let's see how it looks like with the base Recroom colors. So let's open this with Notepad, and of course we saved the Recroom base colors right here. So let me get the base colors back into encoding. Highlight all of this, paste, file, save. Let's go back into Recroom Show Printer Main. Let's create importing, no. Top half, no. And you see how different it looks compared to custom colors. Yeah, that's why I like custom colors more. Now let's try the exact same image, but with dither this time. So yes, and you can see those little dots right there. You didn't see those with the custom colors without dithering. So yeah, that's how different custom colors is. That's a basic example. Of course, every image is going to be different and it's going to look different. Now we're ready to go into Recroom. Before we start the importing process, I'm going to be telling you some quick things to do. Open up your watch, go into settings, change control scheme, and change it to classic. Default and alternate do not work with importing. Once you change the control scheme to classic, you'll then want to make sure head bob amount is down to 0. You'll then want to go into visuals. You want to set it to low, but I'll just keep it on high and make sure VSync is disabled. You want that disabled. So that's all you have to do in the settings. Now let's go into our backpack and pull out our maker pen. You want to go into the maker pen. You'll most likely have advanced creation tools on, and this will not work with importing at all. You'll then want to go on the cog wheel in the top right, click on general settings, and make sure advanced creation mode is disabled. You'll then have the original maker pen menu. So yeah, that's everything you have to configure in your maker pen. Now the last thing we are going to be doing involves your dorm room. So make sure you have a saved copy of your dorm room, because what we're going to be doing is deleting everything in your dorm room from the maker pen menu, which is right under general settings. Scroll down, delete everything, and yes, we're gonna have to have as much ink as possible. So once you delete everything, you'll then just want to save your room. There we go. Now you have a blank, empty room. We're going to need a lot of ink to spawn in the inventions we're going to be using. Now that we're done with all that information, I'm going to be showing you the two importing methods. There's variable import and there's list create import. I'm going to be showing you list create first. Go into your menu, go into play, and search up list create importing. There we go. And you'll want to join a public or private, doesn't matter. Joining a public will actually earn you XP depending on how much time you spend in the public room. You'll want to choose a subroom. Now this is where strings are going to come in handy. So to know how many strings your image has, you'll want to go into Recroom Show Printer Main, this create importing, click on no, select the image you're going to be importing, then dither it or not, up to you. And here it is. Proceed to copy all blank strings to Recroom. It would vary from image to image if you dither or not, if you use custom colors or not. It just varies depending on basically what you're using and what image you have. So for me, it's 97 strings. So I will obviously join the room that can hold up to 1,280 strings, because there's no point in joining the room that can hold up 4,096, 3,136, 2,560, as I only need up to 1,280 string space. You have to join the subroom that can hold up the required amount of strings your image has. I'm going to join the 1280 strings. Once you're in the list create importing room, go straight forward, sit on the seat, grab the trigger handle with your right hand, go into your menu, click on backpack, use your maker pen, grab your maker pen, go into your maker pen menu, click on edit the list create data chip, go back into your maker pen menu, click on connect, and center your crosshair in the middle of this purple rectangle. Now some rooms automatically do this. I know there's like a couple rooms that don't, like I think 2 of them don't, or the other 3 don't, I'm not sure. So if it doesn't automatically center your crosshair in the middle, you basically want to get it as close to the middle manually as possible. So once you're here, you'll then want to go back into this window and press Y to import, and tab back into Recroom, and it should start importing, doing its thing, and you basically just have to wait until the importing is done. It can vary from minutes to maybe an hour or so. It depends how many strings your image has. Now once you're done importing, you'll want to let go of the right trigger handle, jump out of the seat, drop your maker pen to get rid of that menu, and check for empty strings. No strings were missed, which is good, but in case it says that strings were missed, you'll basically want to go into your maker pen menu, click on edit the list create data, and look for the missing string. Let's say for example this string right here was missing. You'll want to click on the string above it, select it, copy it, and just get out of that menu. You'll then want to go back into Recroom Show Printer Main, open up encoding, and click the importing method that we're using, which is list create import. So load to, enter, open your image that you were importing, and select whether or not you did it, which I didn't, so no. And here we go. You'll then want to press Ctrl F, paste the string that was above the missing string, find it next, there it is. So you want to copy the string that is below the string that we just copied. So we copied from the top, we're going to copy the one below it, select it all, Ctrl C, go back into Recroom, and then you want to click on the string that's missing, you want to paste it, press done, and then press these two arrows right here, and you should be good to go. Repeat the process for any other missing strings. So now that we have our list create data with no missing strings, you then want to go into your tools in your MakerPad menu, make an invention, select the list create data, click next, click save, and then name this whatever you want. Doesn't matter the name, so I guess I'll do top half for my image. Click next and take a picture of it. You'll then want to click on confirm. So once you have it saved as an invention, you'll then want to repeat this process if you're doing the two-part printing, which is what I was talking about earlier, where you split your image in half in case the strings were way too high to import. So yeah, you'll basically want to repeat the process, but for the bottom half this time. Once you have those two, or the single list create data saved as an invention, you then want to go back into your dorm room. Once we are in our empty dorm room, you then want to go into your watch, go to store, and search up in the inventions tab, shirt printer dorm, and you'll want to spawn it through the store page. All right, through the store page. Here it is. So now that we have that up and ready, I'll be showing you the next importing process, which is string variable. Just mentioning in this now, you do not have to do string variable if you're doing list create data, okay? And you do not have to do list create data if you're doing string variable. Just mentioning that now. You don't have to import this twice, just once. String variable or list create data. You have to choose right now which one you want to do. Strongly recommend you use list create data, but string variable works fine. Only drawback is it can only hold up to 2,500 strings, 2,500 strings. So let me show you how to import with string variable. You want to delete the string variable that was there already. Go into your palette and search up string variable, spawn it in. You'll then want to connect reset to access and string to string. Want to press configure on this, go down here, and this next part is optional. It is only if your monitor's aspect ratio is 16:9 and if Recroom's aspect ratio is 16:9. So you want to go into Recroom Share Printer main, and you want to click on coordinate calibration PY. You want to press enter, and then you want to press enter again. Click into Recroom and click right here, the top left of this value box. Go back into the coordinate calibration. Want to press enter, go back into Recroom and click on these two arrows right here on the top right. Want to go back into coordinate calibration and you're basically done. So just press enter again and it should automatically exit. There you go. Your coordinates now have been calibrated. Now you can import using string variable, which I'll be showing you right now. So you want to go into shirt printer.py, open your image. You'll want to choose whether or not to dither it, up to you, and it should bring up a prompt to import the amount of strings. Remember, you can only import 2,500 using string variable. So you want to click on yes and wait for Recroom to be an active window. Begin, and it should start importing the strings. Once it's done importing, you can now move on to configuring the shirt printer. Once we have all of this ready, you'll basically just want to delete exactly what I'm deleting. Delete this, 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 this right here, this right here, this right here, this right here, this, and this. And this. There you go. You should be left with all of this. Now that you have all of this basically ready, you can delete the string variable if you're not importing using string variable. If you are, of course, leave it as is. But once you have basically all of this set up, you can now save your dorm room right now. So save room, I guess, shirt printer, so you can know exactly where to load into in case you mess something up. So shirt printer. So let me show you how to wire up the list create data. So if you are using list create data, you can delete the string variable, these three chips, and you should be left with just this. Of course, if you are using string variable, do not delete what I just deleted. So you want to go into your McRen menu, you want to go into your palette, inventions, and just spawn in the list create data that you saved earlier. There it is, list create data. Go to tools, press on connect, connect to run to load data, data loaded to load, list create data to image data input. And there you go. That is how you wire up the list create data to the shirt printer right here. Once again, you do not need to do this if you're doing variable importing. So let's configure the shirt printer settings. So front and back, keep front and back to false if you're going to be printing on the front of a shirt. Turn it to true if you're going to be printing on the front and back of the shirt and on canvases. Okay, so if you're printing on canvases, turn this to true. Do not keep it on false. So for variable import, keep it on true if you're using the string variable importing method, and turn it to false if you're using list create data method. Now for main delay, you can increase or decrease this. If you increase it, the print will take longer to print, but you will have less pixel bleed and your image would most likely come out with better quality. Then you can decrease it and the print will be faster, but you run the risk of having more pixel bleed and your image will most likely be lower quality. Now I would recommend you increase the main delay to at least 0.3, but you can keep it at 0.25 and that will be fine. Completely up to you. Image width and height, you'll want to put the image width and height of the image that you exported from Photopea. So for example, in two-part printing, the split image, our original size is 1331 by 1000. We're going to be putting 1331 by 1000 and not 1331 by 500. You'll want to put the original size of the image before you split it. Same goes for all the other images. So if you're using the front of the shirt, you can put 350 523 up to 560 816. Whatever dimensions you use, you place it here at image width and height. Image width will be the first number. Image height will be the second number. So for me, I'm choosing 1331 and 1000. So now that you have that ready, this next step is completely optional. It is for custom colors. So if you're not using custom colors, you can skip this step. Although I would strongly recommend you do use custom colors. You'll want to select all of this right here. Make sure you have it all selected. You'll then want to press delete. If anything else drops on the floor like markers, or if anything's floating, you'll just manually delete that. Now, depending on what you're printing, you'll want to search up 80 shirt recolorable or 75 canvas recolorable. Of course, 75 for canvases and 80 for shirts front and back, whatever you want. For this example, I'm going to spawn in the shirt one. For the two-part printing, you'll want to delete this, this, and this. There you go. So now it's a total of 79 markers. The reason why we deleted one marker is so we can have the extra ink space to spawn in the two-part printing invention, which of course you can search up in the store, two-part printing, and spawn it through the store. Remember, spawn every invention we're using through the store. There it is. Two-part printing now successfully spawned in. Once again, you do not need this if you're not using the two-part printing, aka splitting your image in half and importing them separately. So once you have either your shirt recolorable markers ready or your canvas colors ready, you'll then want to grab on the trigger handle with your right hand, sit on the seat, grab your maker pen, go into the tools and go into recolor and just stay right here. You'll then want to aim your crosshair to the right side of this first marker right here. Right there is fine, and just stay in this menu. You'll then want to go into your color compiler, so double click on it. You'll then want to press I, enter, and input the hex file for your custom colors, not the RGB, the hex file. You'll then want to press open. You want to press a delay, so I use 0.2. You can use 0.1, 0.3, 0.25. It depends on what you like to use. I personally use 0.2. Press enter, enter again, and go back into Recroom, and it should start importing the colors. All right, so now that all your colors are done importing, we are then going to be removing some colors. Now, this is completely optional. This is for if you want to have a transparent background, like I mentioned earlier. So for my image right here, the Mega Man, we obviously have a red background, and I don't think he is red at all, so it's safe to assume you can remove all the red colors. Now, this will vary how many of the same colors you will have depending on the color compiler option you chose, so 0, 1, or 2. Since I chose 2, I think there's like multiple shades of red that detected for some reason, although there's obviously just one that we chose. So I guess I can remove this, and oh, whoops, I didn't mean to remove that, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, if you accidentally remove it, you'll probably want to despawn and respawn the invention so you can get a fresh set all over again. So that one, and maybe that one. So basically get rid of all the colors that aren't a part or that you don't think are a part of your main image. So yeah, that's how you do transparent backgrounds. You basically want to delete all the colors that are not a part of your main image. So the colors that are a part of the background. Now this is risky. Like I said, you know, mine's had multiple reds because it detected multiple reds. So yeah, do this at your own will. If you're confident to do it, then just do it. But I would recommend you print an image with a background. It's up to you. It's really up to you. So yeah, once you get rid of all the colors, we can then move on to placing our canvas or our shirt board. There are two inventions that we're going to be spawning in so we can place our board. Now you can manually place it. So let me show you how to do that real quick. You want to spawn in the clothing customizer, grab it and flush it up against the wall. But as you can see, it's really not working for me. It used to work efficiently like back when I used to print a lot of shirts, but right now I'm not sure what it is, but it doesn't want to flush up against the corner. So that's why I am going to show you how to basically place the board with this board placement C invention. Now there are two. There's the regular one and the V2. I would suggest you use V2. Let me just show you V2. It's basically the exact same thing except one of them doesn't require the maker pen. Remember, spawn it through the store. You want to sit on the seat, grab your maker pen, and then you'll want to go back into your backpack. I'm in the completely wrong menu. Recall your shirt board. So there we go. What I would suggest you do is basically lift up your mouse, sit on the seat so it doesn't like move you out of place when you're like trying to open up or something. So it's like zero movement. So just lift up your mouse, sit on the seat, go into your watch menu, and then lift your mouse again to use, and boom, there we go. It is placed down. Now for the V1, you basically do exactly the same. Sit on the seat, pull up your clothing customizer. Now, of course, it's off because I'm using V2, but with V1, that's basically what you do. You just don't need the maker pen. You don't need to grab the maker pen with V1 with this one. So yeah, that's how you basically get the clothing customizer to flush up against the corner. Now, there is another thing that shows you if it's in the correct placement. You want to search up board visual V2 and spawn it through the store, of course. So there we go. Obviously the placement is not correct, so let's just sit back on the seat and let's just repeat the process until it's in the correct area. Still not correct. As you can see, it doesn't work first try all the time. Now this is how it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to have this and this on top of the board customizer. Okay, that's how it's supposed to look like. That's how you know you got the placement right. Although when you do start the print, so let me start it real quick. I forgot to mention, if you can't spawn in the board placement seat, you'll want to delete the start button, go into your maker pen menu and connect the invent receiver test event to run, because you will most likely not have enough ink to spawn in the board visual. You'll need to do that instead. So in order to start the print without the start button, you want to send a test event. And there it is. Now, as you can see, although I have the perfect placement, it's not drawing on the board. So what I do is I click on this clamp and I move it forward towards the board and then back towards the board until it starts drawing on the board placer. I'm not sure why. Maybe I have the placement wrong, but I'm just following along with the image. I can show it up a screen. I have the placement right. I just don't know why. You have to manually move the clamp for some reason. So let me just, there we go. Now we have the basically perfect placement, quote unquote. So again, if it doesn't draw on the board, move the clamp forward and backwards until it starts drawing on the board. The more forward it is, the better. So move it forward, move it backwards. Boom. There we go. Perfect. So that's how you place the board. Now I'm going to show you how to place the canvas. All right. So in order to place the canvas, you'll want to go search up this invention, the one I mentioned earlier in the beginning, canvas printer module. Once again, make sure you spawn it through the storefront. Once it's spawned in, you'll want to delete this canvas right there, and you want to spawn in your own canvas. So it can be either square or art, basically square, rectangle. So let's spawn it in. I'm going to show you how to do the square one first because it is the easiest one. Once you spawn in your own fresh canvas, you want to push the place canvas button. And as you can see, it's obviously way too big for the placement. So you want to click on scale and basically scale it down and place the canvas. Scale it down. Okay, I scaled it down way too much. Scale it up, place canvas, and think, yeah, it's way too big still. So let's scale it down a little bit and place the canvas. Now I think that might be perfect. Maybe you basically just want to scale it up, scale it down to see if it's perfectly placed. You want to press the start button. It should be printing the whole canvas. Obviously, if it's like, let me show you how it looks like if it's incorrect. If it's too big, obviously it's gonna not print on the edges, and if it's too small, it's obviously not gonna print at all. So it's basically up to you to decide whether or not the size is perfect. Obviously, it's not always going to be the same size for each and every single canvas. As long as it fully prints, covers the whole canvas, and it actually prints on the canvas, and that is perfect. You can obviously just get like a random black background and import it using list crate or string variable. I would suggest you use string variable for small imports, like let's say like 10 strings or something, just to quickly import and test it out, just to see if it covers the entire canvas. So once you have the perfect size for your canvas, you'll basically just want to save it as an invention. So select it, invention, next, and when it says room anchor, you would want to press yes, because what that does is basically anchor the canvas to spawn into the exact same area where you last left it. So let's say you scaled it down and you had it in the perfect position possible for you. Basically, there's obviously not going to be a perfect position possible for everyone. That's going to be exactly the same. So for you, it will basically spawn in this when you spawn it through the maker pen. Like let's say right here, if you're in the store, when you spawn it through this, it'll basically spawn where you last left it and where you saved it, like where you selected it to save the invention. It will spawn right there. Exactly same size, exactly same placement. You can obviously just place the canvas again just to be safe if you want to, but the size would be exactly the same. So then you don't have to struggle with resizing the canvas all over again. This goes for the rectangle canvas too. So now that we're talking about the rectangle canvas, let's just get the size for that and I'll show you how to do that. So let's search up art canvas, basically rectangle canvas. You'll then want to press the place canvas button again, scale it down, place it again, scale it up, way too small, place it again, and I'm assuming that's the perfect position and size. I'm not sure. Once you feel like you got the perfect position, or perfect size I should say, not position, you'll then want to bring it down and place it right, I feel like right there could be it, but I'm not sure. You can test it out. Obviously it's not going to be the same for everyone, so basically trial and error this. You can just scale it, see if the position's right, start the print, see if it prints on the entire canvas. If it doesn't, obviously scale it up or down depending on how it looks like to you, if you need to scale it up or scale it down. Keep placing it. Of course, when you press the place canvas thing again, it's gonna mess up the placement on the top, so you have to manually move it down each time to fit these little notches right here. So yeah, once you have the perfect size, again, save it as an invention so you don't have to struggle with resizing the canvas ever again. Save it, one and done, never have to struggle with it again. Let's say scale up the canvases and place them. Now this next trick is pretty useful. It says increase/decrease the size of the pixels. Smaller pixels reduce pixel bleed. If you reduce the size too much, the markers may stop drawing. Increase the size to fix it. Pretty self-explanatory. You'll basically just want to decrease the pixel size or manually input a pixel size. Whoops. So manually input one. So 0.050 maybe. I'm not sure. There we go. 0.05. And then if it's not drawing on the canvas, you can obviously increase it. Like if you don't hear any of the pens making noise, like how you heard earlier, where it was hitting the board and the canvas, then you'll basically want to increase it. And once you hear it again, once you hear the little thudding sound, you want to decrease it until you can't hear it anymore, and then increase it until you can hear it. So get the right size. This is pretty optional. You don't have to do it. You can just keep it at the original size, but I'm just saying, so it could reduce pixel bleed if you want. Of course, delay reduces pixel bleed if you increase it, which is very useful to do. Once again, you can mess with the delay and these buttons right here. So once you're done with all of that, you're pretty much done. You're done. You can just wait out for the print to be finished, except for the two-part printing people. In order to do two-part, let's say print was halfway done. All right. So once it's halfway, it should stop halfway. As soon as it stops halfway, you'll want to press this button once. It says two-part printing enabled. The printer will start at 50% image height. Make sure you imported the image. Once you click on that, you'll want to import the second half, the bottom half of your image into a string variable, or just pull the second second list create data that you made for the bottom half, the way that I told you to do earlier. Spawn it in, wire it up, and then obviously import the bottom half custom colors and delete any of the solid background color. Remember, you just have to delete the marker. You don't have to delete these notches. I just deleted them to make up space for demonstration, but just delete the marker, not the notches. I'm not sure if I made that clear for the example earlier. Hopefully I did. So once you imported the bottom half custom colors and you have the bottom half list create data or string variable imported, you'll then want to click on start again, and it should resume this print halfway, and you're pretty much done. You can just wait it out. You're done. I'm gonna give you a quick tip for the clothing customizer. So let's say you have it flushed up against the corner and it's ready. It's like, let's say the markers are hitting the board, it's printing. This quick tip would save you probably by a lot. It will save you a lot. You'll want to download OP Auto Clicker. So download it. Once you finish downloading OP Auto Clicker, go into your file explorer, into your downloads, and double click on the exe. You'll then want to set the seconds to whatever you want. I would suggest you set it to at least every 30 seconds. So it's going to click every 30 seconds. So you just want to set it to that, and you can minimize it. You can obviously change the hotkey settings. So you can set it to F1, F2, F3, F4, A, B, C, D, whatever you want. I have it to F1. Let's say it's printing right now. It's hitting the board. The markers are hitting the board. Boom, 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 boom. Let me clear that. So once you have this option, you'll then want to click on the hotkey that you set up. There we go. It's going to click save every 30 seconds or so, or whatever time you set, in case your game crashes or you get kicked to your offline dorm or you're kicked to the screen, the home screen of Recroom or whatever. You can then boot up the game and then pull up the clothing customizer and see how much progress is done. Maybe it finished, and since you had the auto clicker running and you saved it every 30 seconds or whatever, you didn't lose your shirt. That's only for the shirt board, because obviously this has a manual save feature. It's not for canvases. This next tip is for all of the printing methods, so the canvases and the shirt board. What you're going to want to do is get yourself into an offline dorm. There are 3 different ways that you can do this. I'm going to explain to you one way and show you the other 2 ways. The first way is just disconnecting your computer from your Wi-Fi. For me, I have Ethernet, so I can just disconnect the Ethernet cable from my computer from the Wi-Fi for at least 5-ish seconds. Okay, 5-ish seconds. Plug it back in, and it should kick you to your offline dorm, which I'll be showing you how it looks like in a second. That's how you do it with Wi-Fi. Disconnect your computer from the Wi-Fi for a couple seconds, 5 seconds, I would recommend, and you should go into an offline dorm. The second method is getting this invention, list create to big. Once you get this invention, you basically just want to spawn it in with your maker pen or through the store page, whichever one, and you basically just want to keep spawning it in, keep spawning it in, and keep spawning it in until you eventually get kicked into your offline dorm. So what you can do is just keep spawning it in, or you can click on clone/flip and just clone. Now this method isn't really that good anymore. It used to be really effective back then apparently, but right now it doesn't crash effectively anymore for some reason. I think Recroom might have fixed some things around. So yeah, that's the second method. So the third method to getting into your offline dorm requires either a friend or an alt account of yours. Now to get an alt account of yours into a separate Recroom instance, you can either use the Recroom launcher, or if you have the Oculus app installed, you can click on these 3 dots and start in desktop mode. So you can have another instance of Recroom opened with your alt account, or you can obviously use your phone if you have one, an Xbox if you have one, a PlayStation if you have one, just as long as you get a second account of yourself into another instance of Recroom, or if you get a friend to help you with this. So what to do, go into the friend that's going to help you, press on go to, and you will want to invite yourself, and then go into your friend's dorm room. So once you're in your friend's dorm room, your friend is going to go into his watch menu and he's going to press on evict all. So there we go. It should evict you to your dorm room. And here we go. We are now in our offline dorm. Now, a way to tell if you're in your offline dorm is if you go back to your friend and you can't press the invite button on anyone. Literally anyone. The friend that kicked you, your other friend. If you can't press the invite button, you successfully made it to your offline dorm. Now, the reason why this is helpful is Recroom will kick you into your offline dorm while you're printing. So the only way now that your print can get messed up is by either you messing it up yourself, like not properly printing, or if Recroom crashes, then that's pretty much it. That's the only way. If Recroom decides to crash for some reason, there's like multiple reasons why it crashes. Do this before you start printing. I should have probably mentioned it before I started started the whole printing thing. Do this before you start printing. It would save you so much time and effort. It's just great. If you're not going into your offline dorm, you're risking a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much everything you need to know about Recroom printing currently. If this was too complex for you, like too much information at once, or maybe too much information simultaneously, like, you know, I was throwing 2-part printing and custom colors and jumbling it all together, whatever, there's tutorials down below that I would link for specific printing. So like if you want to print only on shirts, there's a tutorial down there. I think that's the only one currently. I'm not sure there's like a canvas tutorial specifically, but this is basically your all-in-one tutorial for printing. I probably missed like a little bit of information. Like I know I didn't show how to resume your print in case you do crash and it manages to save like in your shirt board, like you were auto-clicking and you saved. I didn't show how to resume a print. There is a way to resume print, but at that point I would just recommend you to just restart all over. But I'll leave a tutorial on how to resume the print if you really are interested in that. You can skip this if you want. I'm basically going to show you the most optimal setup for each printing category. So for shirts and canvases. So obviously you're going to want the shirt printer dorm, spawn it in through there. This is going to be basically shirt printing with list create, the best importing possible. Obviously delete everything, boom, 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 and custom colors, boom, 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 boom. You are left with just this. You'll then want to delete the base colors because we are not going to be using, make sure that is not selected. That's definitely going to mess you up. Select all of the markers, delete them. Of course, if anything is left, just manually delete all of that. We'll then want to spawn in the 80 shirt recolorable. There we go. And then let's set up our list create real quick. So let's put the delay up. You don't have to do that. It's just, you know, personal preference. Let's get our list create data there, run. Data loaded, load, list create data, boom. Obviously, the settings can be tweaked with printing on the front of the shirt, the back of the shirt. Obviously, this is going to be set to false because we're using list create. Main delay, I would suggest you do 0.3. Obviously, front and back, the dimensions can be whatever you want. After that, we're going to get the board placement seat V2, spawn that boy in, and then we're going to delete the start button, obviously, because we're going to get our visual placement. So board visual placement, spawn in, connect that. We're pretty much ready. You can save this setup and just load it in whenever you want to print a shirt. So just go into this room, save room, shirt printer dorm, save it. Obviously, once you load in, you're gonna have to delete the list create data. So if you don't want to do that, you can just delete it and then save it, but it's up to you. You basically have everything ready to configure and to print. Now I'm gonna show you the canvas, the best setup you can have. So this setup is going to be exactly the same. So it's going to be list create, custom colors, and this time we don't need the board placement seats, so we're not going to delete the start button. So let's just delete all of this here. Boom, 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 boom. Move this up just for easier access when wiring up the list create. Obviously set this to true, set this to false, put this 0.3 or whatever delay you want. 0.3 seems to work just fine. Image width and height, obviously 1024 by 1024 or 1024 by 1429, I think it was. Hopefully I got that right. Once you got that, delete these markers because we're going to be utilizing custom colors, which I can't stress this enough. I strongly suggest you use custom colors. Once again, if you miss anything, just manually delete it. Make sure all of that's clear. Obviously 75 canvas recolorable, spawn that in. So once we have our custom colors, we're going to spawn in the canvas printer module. Obviously delete the image and get your own canvas in there. So get your own canvas in there, square, rectangle, whatever you're using. Once you have the canvas there, if you spawned it in through the invention, which I suggest you to do, then you're pretty much set to just save the room, and whenever you want to print on canvases, you can just load the save canvas printer or whatever you want to name it. It's really useful. Just load up the save, spawn in your rectangle or your square, whichever one you're using. Obviously, if you're going to be using the same image width and height for every single image, you can obviously just put 1024 by 1024 or 1024 by 1429. So yeah, that's it. Those are the two best setups for printing right now. There's probably a better one out there. I'm not sure. You can tweak around with these. This is my personal preference whenever I'm printing. Now that is pretty much it. I'm going to be showing you one last thing though, and that is the Recroom printing. If you haven't already joined for the custom colors, you should probably join right now for custom colors and for the community itself and the help and everything. Obviously, read the rules or else you're gonna get muted or kicked or banned. Just read the rules, okay? There's like a lot of people that join in and say, hey, I need help. Like specify what you need help with, provide screenshots, provide an explanation, all of that good stuff. Don't just come in here saying, hey, I need help. And if you do come in here saying you need help, at least do it in request help. All right, don't do it in any other channel. Obviously the information right here, Rand's printing tutorial, there is the tutorial and files. If you like a written down tutorial, you can check out the GitHub, which we checked out earlier for the printing code. There's obviously request help that I just mentioned. So if you run into any issues, you can request help here. But before that, strongly suggest you check out the FAQs. I for sure had to look back at the FAQs to get some information for the video. I haven't printed in a while, so I had to get some information refreshed. FAQs help out a lot. So just read through, let's say you have a pip error, just read through it. It'll most likely be solved. If it's not, then you can request help, but just don't add any of the help like immediately. Like, hey, I need help. Help me right now. Like, people have lives. It's not their jobs to help you. So just be patient and don't be rude. Again, read the rules. And there's also print requests. So if you don't have a PC or if you don't have the patience, you can also get submit a request and someone can print you a canvas, sell it to you, or they can print you a shirt. You can buy from them, all that good stuff. And of course, leave all the reviews you have so people know that the commissioners are good and trusted. You can also check out other prints here that people have done. A lot of good prints. Now that is pretty much it. I hope this tutorial wasn't as hectic or confusing as the previous one. I know it was a bit confusing to understand because there was like information at the beginning that you had to keep in mind later on in the video. Like when I mentioned two-part printing, that was like way in the beginning when we were in Photopea. Hopefully this is better. Hopefully I helped you out, and hopefully you joined the Discord server, so in case you do need more help, you can read the FAQs and you can request help. That's pretty much it. I'll see y'all later.